Please listen carefully.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Knock and Talk Show. I'm Marcus.
And I'm Allison.
And this is episode numero uno.
Oh, we're speaking Spanish now.
Give it a shot.
Okay, where are we going to start?
Well, what are we doing here?
I'm not really sure where you want to start today.
What's the point of our podcast?
Well, I figured we would just kind of talk shit, police shit, life, whatever nonsense I decide to obsess about for the week.
So randomness is what
That's what we're going for. Randomness.
Our key.
Basically, whatever goes on my brain, I figured we could just put it on a podcast rather than just...
Well, we're going to have to ease into that because...
Well,
that could be dangerous also.
But here's the thing is that you don't really like to talk to me a whole lot when we're just home. I feel like you filter it's like in one ear, out the other. And so now that I have you sitting here on a podcast with me, I feel like you have to listen to me and you have to talk to me. So I don't know. This is kind of working out for me pretty good.
Where are we going to start today?
Oh, that's good. We're just going to ignore it. That's fine. I don't know. Where would you like to start?
We have several different areas we can get into.
How about something that's happened recently in the law enforcement world?
Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay, and what's going on in
where
Nashville?
A 22-year-old employee opened fire on his coworkers, wounding 3.
Okay.
This is from police1.com.
When did this occur?
Well, this was published today at 9:20, so I'm thinking maybe yesterday.
Okay.
Occurred at a Smile Direct Club warehouse. He was later killed by Nashville police. There's actually a really good video, body cam video on Police One from Metro Nashville Police Department. Looks like they actually ended up encountering him somewhere outside of the building where the incident occurred. Got in a brief standoff with him before they actually ended up opening fire, and I don't know if he made it or not. 22-year-old male.
That's pretty young.
Which is becoming... I mean, you can pretty much look in the news any day and find some type of incident remotely similar to this, but...
What do you, like in your opinion, I have my own opinions. What do you think the reason that this has become more prevalent? I mean, there's multiple. So let me just say that. I know there's multiple reasons. I know if anyone is listening to this, which I'm sure we probably have 0 listeners at that point or this point, but that's fine. And I'm sure if someone's listening, they're probably thinking, well, there's a lot of reasons for it, but off the top of your head, what is one of the major reasons you think that this type of incident is becoming so much more
mass
prevalent?
shootings? Is that the...
We'll go with mass shootings or
active
shooter type situations.
I think publicity plays a big part in it.
Okay.
Because of the coverage, the way they're covered, the way they're publicized. I think copycats are a real thing.
I agree.
Nowadays, I really do. There's not a lot to this article on the website.
I'm just going to interrupt for a minute. If anyone's listening and they hear some cat noises in the background, we kind of have a zoo at our house, so I apologize. I will try to edit this out, but I can only do so much, so we'll continue. I'm sorry. So it's back to the media.
Yeah.
And the media.
It was a weird transfer.
Sorry.
I do. I think the media plays a big role in it.
I would agree.
There's not a lot on here as far as yet, anyways, as far as what his intent or his motive may have been. I'm sure more will come out later. Maybe not. It seems that there's always a big coverage for the breaking story, and then it kind of fades off and disappears after that.
White male, black male, Hispanic.
He appears from this video that he may be a black male.
Were the victims his coworkers or were they random?
It doesn't even say that.
So I would be curious.
All it says is it occurred at this place.
I would be curious. Not that not that it matters. It's still lives lost.
Oh, it does say he was an employee at the Smile Direct Club warehouse.
And so there were employees that were killed.
Yes.
You know, to me, I feel like there's a difference, and I'm no psychologist, but I mean, you know as well as I do that.
I read a book once.
I like to dig into this kind of stuff, but I feel like there's a major difference between shooters when the victims are just complete strangers, they don't have any attachment to them, versus victims whom they work with or they know or they have some sort of acquaintance with. I feel like there's different, maybe not necessarily motive, but there's a different psychological reason for that.
Just explain that. I mean, what do you mean by different?
I feel like
Intent?
I feel like it takes a different type of psychology to kill people that you know. I feel like if you like psychopaths, sociopaths, they don't have any empathy. They don't have the ability to feel empathy for the things that they do and the crimes that they commit. And that's why they're not able to be rehabilitated. But when you have a crime where it's actually someone that you have a connection to, I feel like it takes a different type of mental state to have that ability to be able to kill someone that you know versus almost having that empty, there's no connection to that person. It's just open
random.
fire, just random, just shooting. And you know, and I feel like some of these active shooters, and I'm sure there's obviously every situation's different. I feel like some of them they're not really big gun guys. They're not pro firearm people. They're not top shooters, and
right.
You know, they're just kind of like open fire, hit what they can hit, whatever. And obviously the end result's always gruesome, always terrible. But I just feel like there's a difference. I feel like there's a difference between people who go in and kill people that they have an attachment to versus people who just go in for whatever reason. The Vegas shooting is coming to mind when he's shooting from, I forget what hotel it was. Was it Mandalay?
I think it was Mandalay Bay.
Mandalay Bay. When he's just opening fire from a window. I mean, obviously you don't know who those people are. So you're just open spraying. You're just trying to destroy human life. Not that this kid was trying to destroy human life as well, but he probably knew these people. So, I mean, I could be wrong.
Maybe a revenge shooting.
Could be a revenge. Maybe there's some sort of motive. Maybe
animosity.
He was bullied, which again doesn't justify anything. But you know.
But at least there's intent there.
There's intent, but I feel like also now you got me on a tangent. Now I feel like it also connects to mental health, which you know as well as I do. Like mental health nowadays. Mental health, let me preface with, it's always been around. Mental health has always been here. I mean, it's not like it's this new thing that just started.
But there used to be an outlet for mental health issues.
Correct.
Where now we've come into this day and age where there is no outlet for mental health issues. We've seen that several times firsthand. There's nothing. There's no result. There's no resolution. There's no help that these people need that they get in the end of these issues. Everything from funding to you name it, they're not getting the help and the resources that they need. So I think when things are left uncured, even undiagnosed, undealt with, you're going to see more issues like this, even if it's not an active shooting type thing. There, you know what I mean? You're going to continue to see the mental health issues shine light until there's something you can do to get help or get a resolution for these people.
I guess I don't understand. Well, I guess I do understand. Like you said, there was more of an outlet, and I disagree to some extent what the outlet used to be, because I feel like back in the day, if you had any sort of mental health issue, they just locked you up. That's all it was. Like there was no let's just medicate you and send you on your way. I'm sure there was exceptions.
Well, it depends on how far back in the day you're talking, because there used to be places where as officers dealing or encountering somebody like that in the street, you had somewhere to take them where they were getting specialized mental health treatment or help. Now they're going to a regular medical hospital And while there may be specialized doctors there for those issues, I don't feel like it's that targeted care that they may need at that time, if that makes sense.
Do you mean more so like more like pink slip, like the emergency admission, like the
yeah. So I mean, we take them to a medical hospital, and they're being seen by.
I'm sorry. So I was typing at the same time. So you're talking about what we deal with, what the people we deal with.
Yes.
Like, and the direct result of after we deal with anyone with a mental, like going through a crisis.
Yes.
Basically. Okay. I just wanted to throw in real quick. There's a stat. Let me see. It's the Mental Health America National.org website. And it's the prevalence data from 2021. And I hate that I'm saying only. It said 19% of adult Americans are experiencing mental illness, which is equivalent to over 47 million Americans. It says 4.55% are experiencing a severe mental illness. And the state prevalence ranges between 16% and 25%. I don't know. Like, I feel like the percentage, like, it's so much more. And maybe that's just diagnosed. But maybe that's just diagnosed. Like, maybe obviously statistics have to be like numerical data. So like, there's a lot of people that I feel like even we encounter that they have mental health issues, but they've never been diagnosed. They've never had anyone to help them. And more often than not, they don't have the ability to get the help. They don't have health insurance like we do. They don't have families that care about them. They don't have people that are supportive of them. So what are they doing? They're doing drugs.
Lost in a system.
Right. So I guess I look at this stat and I'm like, oh, it has to be so much higher. It has to be, because
those are reported cases.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's diagnosed, reported cases. And like, look at the amount of people that we deal with. And I'm not saying like our country's crazy and like the people that we deal with are crazy, but like, it's a crisis. Like there's a lot of people with mental health issues out there, and like mental health is a serious thing. But I also feel like at the same time, you get mental health and it's almost whitewashed to a degree. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, you have, I don't want to say true mental health. I feel like that's not the right word.
Right.
But now I'm getting off on another tangent. But there is mental health. And then I feel like this facet of everyone wants to have a story or I'm trying to think like
everybody wants some type of attention.
It's attention, but it's like, I guess social media plays into it, because all I'm doing is I'm picturing like these social media posts that people make where they're like, I don't usually do this, but I just want to tell my story and this is what I've gone through and this and that and yada, yada, yada. And like, that's awesome. Like that people want to share, they want to be open and honest and share with others in hopes of like that someone else could maybe like identify with them and feel more comfortable with who they are or whatever. But I don't know. I feel like there's some things that people almost take too far, like anxiety, for example. I'll be honest, I've been diagnosed with anxiety.
Everybody has anxiety.
But I'm saying like I've taken anxiety medication before. Like, okay, I don't think I'm this like crazy anxious person. Like, I don't think that I can't function in life. But you're right. I think everyone has anxiety, and I guess that's my point. Is I think everyone to a certain degree has certain things, but it's almost overplayed that now it's almost like overshadowing the more serious mental health that needs the attention that isn't getting the attention. Does that make sense?
It's just like anything. After it's so big, it becomes watered down to those severe cases.
Right.
And you can link that to anything. Anything. I mean, name it. You know what I mean? The more prevalent it becomes, there's always those more serious, less serious. But when it's mass numbers, I do feel it takes away and waters down the more severe cases. Right. Whether it's an overload in whatever you're trying to do or fix or whatever the case may be. So how do we get away from that?
I don't know. I think it really bothers me because obviously we deal so often with mental health at work. And for those of you who don't know, we're going to sidetrack for a minute. We work together, Marcus and I. We obviously are dating. We live together. We drive to work together. We work out together.
Lucky. She is so lucky.
We do everything together. And now we're podcasting together so that Marcus has to talk to me. But I forget where I was going with this. So because we work together, so we obviously see the same calls. Oh, and we're on the same shift together.
Same days off.
Same days off. So pretty much we go on every call together. Oh my God. So anyway, I was thinking about the gentleman that we dealt with a couple weeks ago that was pink slipped 2 days in a row by our shift, sent down to the hospital, and he was on an emergency admission because of some significant threats of suicide that he was making.
Going back, describe a pink slip really quick, just so we're all kind of on the same page, and the purpose of it, what it's supposed to do, just so everybody kind of has an idea.
So pink slip, emergency admission. So as law enforcement, when we encounter anyone that's a harm to themselves, unable to care for themselves, a danger to themselves or to others. Marcus is opening a beer right now. We have the authority to admit them for medical treatment to a hospital. And add in if I'm missing something at this point, because I have had a glass of wine at this point.
Not so much medical treatment, more mental health.
Mental health, treatment. But treatment in the sense of getting some sort of care to get them hopefully on the right track of their life and getting somewhere with things.
So in layman terms, they're having a crisis and they need help.
And we can only do so much.
And their chances are, if we're to that point, they're probably refusing any type of treatment at that point in time. So,
which we have the option to get them to go voluntarily, which we do employ a lot. But I feel like in recent past, you and I have definitely used pink slipping a lot more because I like that security of knowing, like, sure.
Well, and there's official documentation with the pink slip versus if they're going voluntarily.
They can just leave.
Or they can just say whatever they want and turn around and walk out.
That's what I'm saying.
With that pink slip, there's actually some type of documentation of these are the issues displayed. These, this is what has occurred and what took place. So at least there's some, I guess, more official form versus word of mouth, especially from the patient.
Right, and you want to we obviously think these people are in need of help, and it's not like we're not trying to be mean. Like we're trying to
there's an issue and somebody needs help.
There's something that you need help with. And obviously we can't stand there all day and be therapists and doctors and every other job that we're required to be every single day. I feel like it just depends on the day. But anyways, I digress. I forget where I was going with this. The system, I feel like it's so overworked. I do feel for the doctors and the psychiatrists and the therapists and the counselors and all the people in the system because, you take this gentleman, for example, he was taken down there from our understanding. He was able to smooth talk him pretty good, convince the medical staff that he wasn't a danger to himself. Now, mind you, the threats of suicide were very significant. I don't think I can go into too much detail.
But verbally and other actions as well.
But it was a serious threat of suicide that we obviously take that very seriously. It's not just a liability on our issue, but as human beings, we take that seriously.
Well, and having the passion, doing the job and doing it for a reason and having that passion to actually get somebody the help that they need.
Absolutely. But he goes down there and it's like, you feel good. At the end, you feel, I shouldn't say you feel good. You feel better that you caught him. You finally got him. He didn't hurt himself. We're good. We got him to the hospital. He's going to go get some help. And then you find out that 5 hours later, when he should be there on a 72-hour hold, he was released from the hospital. And then you're out there the next day, 24 hours later, almost to the T.
For the same exact thing.
You pink slip him again, and he goes down to the hospital. And what was it like? About 5 hours again, maybe 8 hours
yes.
at max, and he was released on the same thing. And you would think, and I'm sure it wasn't the same staff down there, and I am not blaming them.
Well, it was a completely separate institution the second time as well, and that was our hope that he would.
Because he didn't want to go to the same.
Well,
place.
it was our hope that if he went somewhere else, maybe they would actually keep him a little longer, do some type of in-depth treatment. And
joke was on us. So they release him, but it's, you know, and this kid, we are obviously not making fun of him. Like he is in some desperate
not at
need
all.
of
I mean,
medical help and mental health help, but he didn't get anything, nothing. He got nothing. No. But the system, going back to it, like it is so overworked. Like they don't have the time, the
manpower. There's still a quote unquote pandemic going on at the time. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, where do you go? Where do you turn? It's like this never-ending circle, I guess. Revolving door.
But it's sad. And, like, it makes me grateful for, like, you know, the opportunities and the things that I've been able to do in my life, and, like, coming from a loving family and having such a loving boyfriend right now. but truly, like, having the life that I've grown up in, like, I hate using the term privilege, but I'm so privileged. Like, I have been privileged.
Everybody can consider themselves privileged in some way if you compare yourself to another situation. Right. I mean, that's.
But the mental health stuff does bother me. And going back to like the active shooter stuff, like it does come full circle. You look at all those crimes, like I feel like it is involved in probably 99% of crimes. There's some sort of maybe we'll say 90%. But even if you think of like just simple thefts, like there's something going on there. I'm not saying like they're mentally ill that they're stealing.
Well, but when you look at most of those cases, there's some type of drug abuse involved,
which usually has mental health attached to it. So 100%. That's what I'm saying. Like 99% of the crimes that we deal with, right. I feel like.
But what comes first, chicken or the egg? The mental health or the drug abuse? Is there any standard across the board that we've discovered as of yet? And again, we're street cops. We're not doctors, psychiatrists, nothing of that nature. But does the drug cause the mental illness? I'm sure in some cases it may. Or are you trying to get rid of your mental illness so you turn to drugs? Again, who knows?
Right.
But you're right. There's always some underlying issue. No matter what the call, no matter what the offense is, whatever. There's something else going on.
And I always try to like. I know sometimes like I look too far into stuff, and I know that you don't mind it as much because you're used to me by now because of dealing with me pretty much 24/7. The look on your face. But I feel like I try to encourage some of the other guys that we work with. Like, it's kind of fun to like dig in a little bit more into like the why, like just talk to people, like just have a conversation with them.
And even if you go beyond the part of it being fun, it's that knowledge so that maybe you can help somebody in a different way or have an understanding.
Fun's the wrong word. I'm sorry. That was
because there are times where it is fun because it's that sense of gratification of, you were able to put the puzzle pieces together and maybe change somebody or get them the help they need because you were able to connect those dots. So, yes, it does become this fun, rewarding task after a while. You know what I mean? And you have to have that passion. I think using the term as fun is a good thing because then you can kind of separate your own personal mental health and sanity when you're not directly linked and have too much emotional involvement in those things that you do.
I have so much trouble not being emotionally involved. I don't know why that is. I get so attached.
Well, it's not always a bad thing, but there is a fine line to where when it comes down to your health and your well-being, you obviously have to be careful. At some point in time, you have to draw a line because you're not going to be able to continue to move forward and help people and do the same things if you're not where you should be either. You're going to become one of those statistics if you're not careful.
Are you calling me crazy?
So anyways.
No, but I do, like, I get so attached. Like, I mean, you know this obviously because you're there with me, but I get like, not attached to the person, but like attached to the situation. Like, I feel like I need to like crack every case and like be able to
becomes a personal investment at that point.
Yeah, like I need to like fix every problem. It's like, clearly I'm not going to fix it. And I almost take sometimes personally if like if giving them like a pep talk, quote unquote, like you think that you're going to change their mindset, which I feel like that once in a while you can change their mindset once in a while.
So here's the thing. It is worth doing it.
Absolutely.
Every single time in the hopes that you change just one.
Absolutely.
And when you lose sight of that, you're never going to help anyone.
Yeah.
Right? So it's worth putting in that little extra investment into every person in the hopes that you will change just one.
I don't know. It just came to mind. Do you remember one of our frequent flyers, female shoplifter? First time I dealt with her, she had a bunch of clothes stuffed down the front of her pants, and she
with
was like
the horrible eyebrows and the bad haircut.
Total bitch to me. She was so mean to me. She and like her arm was broken that first day or something like that.
Yes.
Like her boyfriend pretty much beat the shit out of her or something like that.
Yeah.
So I ended up after patting her down, because I always pat down the nastiest of females. Like, this is the greatest part about being a girl cop. I talked with her, and I couldn't even tell you how many times we've dealt with her since then. And I feel like every time I have a conversation with her, and she's actually, now that I just remembered, she's called me at state, like looking for me.
She has changed certain aspects of her life. She's still involved in, I think, the drug game and things of that nature, but she's changed. This is going to sound horrible. She's changed the crowd that she runs with to where the things aren't as out of control in her life. Obviously, we're still having interaction, so it's not perfect. But again, when that's the life that you know,
right?
When that's literally all you know, how do you remove yourself completely? Then, because especially when you're a little bit older, who are you? What are you? What do you have? You're going to start from scratch at, I don't know, her age, 40, 50 years old, maybe.
I would say she's in her 50s.
Yeah. What do you do? When you've been doing that game for that long, how do you get away from it? So, that is what it is. But
there's another one that I gave a pep talk to or whatever, and I dealt with them again, like not that long afterwards, and for whatever reason, I took it so personally. I was so angry that I can't remember what it was, but yeah, sometimes I just take it personally, and I know that's a flaw of mine. I know I shouldn't take things personally.
Maybe not a flaw.
It's a flaw. I mean, because I need to be able to like shut it off, but I just
you have to keep things at arm's distance.
Yeah,
is the big.
But I'm human. I always like I just feel, a lot. Like I'm an emotional person. I'm the emotional one on the ship. But hey, that's me.
We all need one every once in a while.
Hey, we're a good team on afternoons. But I don't know. I feel like we got on like a lot of tangents from active shooters.
That's right. That's what we're supposed to do. That is the whole purpose behind it.
But it is crazy, like the whole mental health thing. I mean, I feel like we could go episode after episode just about mental health stuff, because it is in every aspect of our job nowadays. Because there's no outlet for anyone to go to. What did you just find online? I saw you just pop up.
No, I was actually itching behind the headphones.
Oh, okay. But it does. It's just so prevalent in our job. And what's kind of crazy is if you think about like, I mean, I'm not as old as you are, so I went to the academy just like not as long ago as you did. But if you think about like in the academy, how much training do you really have on mental health? And again, I'm not knocking my academy instructors. I'm not knocking the academy itself, because obviously they can only prepare you so much in an academy. Like our job is to be learned on the street. That is how I don't care if
Yeah,
you're in a
there's
podunk
not-
town or a small city or a big city. Like it's
There's not much hands-on learning you can really do
No.
in that environment.
No.
You can read statistics, you can listen to stories, you can, but yeah, until you're hands-on in it, you're gonna have no idea, no
Right.
idea what to do, how to handle it. That's just how it goes, and that's with a lot of different things that we do. Obviously, sometimes that hands-on, in-person experience is the best way to do it and deal with it. As long as you remember that you're human and the other person that you're dealing with is human, I think those are the biggest things to keep in mind. And do what you can do at the end of the day. Like we kind of started here with is there's not a lot of options that we have to get somebody that mental health treatment that they need, especially long term, because like you said, the whole system itself is in shambles. There's mass amounts of people, and it's obviously increased. I feel since the time of the pandemic, and different people have experienced different things and hardships and losses. So I feel like those issues have increased. But I don't know. Do what you can do and move on.
What do you think about the pandemic itself? Other than, let me just preface it with this. Other than the anxiety of the unknown, like the general things that I think everyone experienced at the beginning of the pandemic. Like, I mean, I know you like vividly remember me the first day of the pandemic.
The unknown. The
unknown.
Scary.
I was freaking out about the gym. I was
in any
freaking
situation.
about like, what are we gonna meal prep to go to work? Like, how are we gonna do all the things that we were gonna do, like that we normally do to go to work? I was freaking out. I mean, like, freaking out is an understatement, but I was freaking out for the first day, which it was stupid, obviously, because everything ended up being fine and whatever. But on our end, I shouldn't say everything ended up being fine in the world, but everything on our end ended up being fine. But what do you think, aside from that general anxiety and fear of the unknown, caused the mental health to get so much worse? Because
of the pandemic?
Because of the pandemic. Because as well as I do, we have dealt so much more with mental health issues ever since the pandemic.
The loss of jobs, the loss of incomes, I don't... That was such a crazy, trying time for the country in general. Mm-hmm. And maybe you had these people who had some underlying mental health issues in the beginning, some underlying anxiety that they managed, quote unquote, or dealt with every day.
With wine.
But then you add, maybe it was just the sense of the unknown that put them over the top, or how many people lost their jobs involuntarily because places were forced to close and there was no option behind it. And then trying to go and look and find gainful employment during that time when literally the entire country is shut down. And the only places, that are open are the places that shouldn't even be open, the big box stores, and mom and pop were closed across the country, and they're still being impacted today. I mean, it's not over. It hasn't ended, and now we're talking about the second strand, and I think that alone is enough to cause people to freak out and have anxiety, or maybe push them over the top, because again, I think that unknown is scarier than people let on or realize, especially in the beginning of something. And I fault the information services and honestly our government for the way that it was handled with the unknown. Look, and I understand it was new and unknown to everyone, but
the way it was disseminated, it was like
my gosh,
everything
was
was put
control.
in a panic
And
versus
because that sells.
Right.
So I think it did. I think it put it over the top for a lot of people. I mean, we're very fortunate to have what we have and be where we are now, but could you imagine if it was all just ripped out from underneath you?
So that's
just in the blink of an eye. You just one day you wake up and it's like, nope, you don't have any of that anymore.
That's why I was so grateful. I love our job. I mean, I've obviously gone through like my own highs and lows of being disgruntled, and one day we can get into how bad last summer was. It's for another episode, but we both have gone through our highs and lows of being disgruntled or being just so happy with our job or having good days or having bad days or having good weeks or bad weeks or whatever. But I have never felt so grateful for full-time employment, for health insurance.
We were guaranteed
for everything that we have.
40 hours a week of pay. And
it was the best feeling.
But it puts it in perspective. Mm-hmm. And then I feel like times like that, it's important not to focus on yourself and what you have, but take a look around you.
Right.
And soak in what other people are going through and what they've encountered. And I couldn't imagine. I've been in some very low spots in my life, but I can't imagine just having everything taken away from me like that. I mean, that's unbearable.
Yeah, I agree. It really is. But I also think too, because in addition to mental health, I mean, we've also ourselves, and I feel like a lot of departments across the U.S. have seen like an uptick in domestic disputes or domestic issues between families because of the fact that a lot of people have been, for lack of a better term, locked up together. Like during
absolutely.
lockdown, like they're stuck together.
Well, it's
in
a
their
huge
home.
adjustment, and then you take those other tensions and pressures on top of it, and it just implodes. It's
so you're
gas to the
taking
fire.
mental health, and then you're taking family that probably doesn't understand, empathize, anything, and you're putting people in homes together where they have no escape. They physically can't go anywhere because nothing was open. Nothing. They couldn't go anywhere.
There's no outlet. There's no release. It is in your face all day.
Every day.
And I feel like another huge issue was the work from home thing. Now, it was great for people. Look, if you're going to tell me I can't work and I've lost my job, my income, my insurance, everything, or I can do it all from home, obviously you're going to do it from home. But where's your separation between work and home? There is none. So I feel like when you wake up in the morning, you get out of bed, you don't have that drive to work, you don't have time to stop at Dunkin' Donuts and get your coffee or whatever your routine is. That's all being taken away from you too. So from the time you wake up until the time you go to bed, you have no separation from, and it doesn't matter what you do for a living. It has no bearing. I'm a firm believer you need some type of separation.
Do you need separation from me?
No, this is fantastic. This is the best thing ever. However, for other people, everyone else except for me, you do. You know what I mean? And we do try, and we have our independent things that we do and focus on, because I don't care who you are or what you're involved in. That's important. Like I said, whether it's that 20-minute drive to work where you listen to our podcast every day from now on, or you jam out, or whatever the case may be, you have to have that off and on. And again, it doesn't even matter what you do for employment. And when that's taken away from you, I saw it firsthand with I shouldn't say I saw it firsthand, but with my stepmom. I mean, it was wake up in the morning, you start working, and then since there's no time to leave and go home because you're hungry and you want to eat dinner, you just continue to work. Well, now you've worked 12, 13, 14, 15, 16-hour days, and it'll drive you crazy.
Heck no, I
drive you
want
nuts.
to get there at the time we're supposed to be there. And I mean, obviously we sometimes don't get to leave when we want to leave, but for the most part we get to leave.
Well, we're overachievers too.
Oh yeah, so much of overachievers. Hope our bosses aren't listening to this one. I'm sure they're not. But it's okay. If they are, we love you. We appreciate you. You're the best. We need a raise. Next contract.
10%.
Can we have a raise, please? Pretty please.
And can we work from home? Is this something we can focus on doing?
Calls for service from home?
From home. If we can just call people.
You could do like traffic stops with
a robot, a drone.
With a drone. Traffic stop. I mean, hey, we might be onto something. We could be like the next Jeff Bezos. We can change the whole law enforcement world. And yeah, we could barely get this podcast working, so I don't think we're
what an ordeal this was. I can't. My mic's not working.
Do you want to explain why it took us? Well, it only took us 2 weeks to get this kind of up and running.
Well, yeah. I mean, the short end of it is we have no idea what we're doing at all.
We don't know what the fuck we're doing.
You can tell from the way we've conversed here, and the way it opened, and the way we have these dry spells, and we say a lot. I mean, hey, it's only episode 1 though, so there are great things to come. We have famous guest stars coming on.
You want to host?
Yeah.
Wait, so we talked about this last week. So wait, because we prepared for this. Not really. I know we talked about Rogan would be our dream podcast guest, but obviously I don't even know whose podcast he's ever gone on. Well, everyone just goes on Rogan.
All I'm saying is if we're gonna collab
Joe Rogan, if you're listening to this podcast,
we're going to his place. That's all I'm saying.
So I'm just saying. So everyone goes to Rogan. Rogan doesn't come to them. So Joe Rogan, put us on your podcast.
Call me Joe.
But anyways, no one gives a shit. So who would be your dream guest?
You know what? She's sitting across from me now. This is the greatest thing.
Shut up.
No, I don't know. Because from what we've talked about, we're obviously going to be probably more law enforcement geared, right? I mean, it's a passion of both of ours. It's what we do.
So I'm gonna sprinkle in some weird stuff because I like weird stuff.
We'll be all over the place, and that's okay. So that being said, I don't know. I think it would depend on the topic and where we're at and what we want to talk about, what we want to learn.
Number one person that you love to listen to, that you would like to have on. All the people that you listen to, you don't have someone that you would love to have on.
I don't know how you just put one person in that category.
Oh my gosh.
Where are you at then? Where's yours?
Do you people understand what I deal with on a regular basis now? This is constant. What do you want for dinner? I don't know. How do you just pick one thing?
I just want it all.
And just like, you couldn't decide if you want homemade pasta tonight or homemade bread, so I had to make both.
Both of them.
Okay, well, then I'll start since you don't want to give an answer. I have 2. Because they're badass bitches.
Well, but you can't just pick one. See what I do with people?
But they're badass bitches, so I can't pick between the 2 of them. So Megyn Kelly, because I love her.
She's legit.
I love her.
I'll give you that one.
First off, I hate my voice. I absolutely hate it. So I'm sorry. Whoever's listening to this, if anyone's listening to this, I'm sorry. I hate my voice. I don't like the sound of my own voice. So thank you for putting up with it for now.
Could be worse. You could sound like the nanny.
Over 40 minutes. So thank you. Thank you for putting up with me.
This is episode 1.
Yeah. But Megyn Kelly has an amazing voice. She is so freaking smart. She's just, whenever she talks, the way she goes back and forth about different ideas, like she is fair. She gives a look at both sides, and which we'll get into last summer with how bad law enforcement morale and everything was. We'll do that another episode. But
that's going to be a blast.
But quickly in that, like when that was going down, look at how many podcasts you and I stopped listening to because everyone was just hating on the cops. No one said it was just F
it
the
was
police,
even
F the
beyond the police issue. There was just
a lot of stuff. But I don't want to get deep into that. We gotta save it for an episode.
We're done.
But thanks
for listening. Have a great night.
She just was fair. And I disagree with some things that she says, which is okay because, again, another conversation for another day. You don't have to agree with everything that everyone says. Like, you can have disagreements.
That used to be the great part about this country and the rights that we have. But
so that's why I love her.
Apparently people
She's pretty amazing.
So who's number 2?
Candace Owens, president, 2024.
America.
I don't think she's launched any. Says she may run, so.
She may run.
I say she's going to be president because she's a bad bitch. She is so smart. She is so well-spoken. And when I get on an angry tangent, you know this. I lose my train of thought, especially if there's been wine involved. I especially lose my train of thought. Candace Owens, when she gets on a tangent and she's on an angry rant, she is educated, she is on point, and she makes her point, and you're like, get it.
But people don't like that nowadays. I shouldn't say people. The younger generation can't handle that.
I love it. It's so good.
That's going to be her issue.
I listen to her and I'm just like,
I'm all about her.
You got it, girl.
But that's going to be...
She's amazing.
That's going to be her
I'm
issue.
not even like for...
She's going to hurt somebody's feelings and then...
She's amazing. She's amazing. Because
we've already
So Megyn
seen
Kelly,
that happen.
Candace Owens. They'll probably never be on our podcast, but it's fine. A girl can dream. No, my mama always told me... I don't know why I just call her mama. I never called her mama. Mom! My mom. Ma'am. My
CBR. Big shout out.
Shout out to CBR.
Our first shout out was CBR.
I gotta collect myself. My mom always told me to dream big, so I'm dreaming big. Megyn Kelly,
there you go.
Candace Owens. So
nothing wrong with that.
That's what we're shooting for, but I don't know. I feel like we should have probably started with this at the beginning before we got like in depth on mental health and active shooters and guys, some like pretty dark
play
shit.
It and rewind when you listen to this one.
But I guess
this may not even make it live because here's the thing.
Okay, but go ahead.
No,
go ahead, Marcus.
You're
go
gonna,
ahead.
You're gonna predict me.
Go ahead.
We just needed to work the bugs out.
Okay,
and now I feel better talking.
So everyone, I would just like you to know that Marcus needed to do like a couple woosahs before I hit record. And there's 1, 2, 3 beer cans sitting next to him. But that's not the button he meant to press.
Wrong button.
But he was a little nervous about recording this episode, and I had to fib to him and tell him that this was just going to be a tester, but I'm thinking this is probably going to go live because I think this is us, and I think that's why I want this to be us.
It is us, but
no one's going to listen to this.
What I will say,
no one's listening,
is I would like to start with some other things instead of jumping. I mean, it was awkward. You know what I mean?
We're awkward.
You could probably go back to any episode and listen, and obviously the first one or any show, and the first one's going to be a little weird, but.
We're weird.
Well, speak for yourself. We all have potential. Let's say that.
I do, but
we will get carried away on rants, and that's how it goes. So that's why we decided to do what we do.
This conversation is what we do. So that's why we decided to do this, because if we weren't sitting here recording with our fancy ass shit that we.
So visit us on Patreon. No, we don't have that going yet.
What's Patreon?
Oh, that's where you make your
money. Oh. I don't think we're going to make any money. No one's going to pay us, so we're not making any money. But
it's a good hobby, though.
But I think, our idea is we would sit outside or sit inside if it was cold out, because weather, you never know what's going to happen. We do this anyways. I mean, this is pretty much this is pretty much how our conversation goes, regardless. So, pretty much what we just recorded, pretending like we're talking to someone that's listening, is how him and I would. How you and I, that's really, I don't know how to phrase that. How you and I would talk to one another. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to a microphone, but I'm talking to you. I don't know. It's weird.
It is.
But I think it's the wine talking. I don't know.
It's,
But anyway, but the whole point of this was to kind of just rant, rave, whatever's on our mind.
Well, like I said, you have to start somewhere, right? So it's kind of getting the bugs out and just getting comfortable having this conversation in this environment, I guess.
But I also think too, because I know that we're going to be law enforcement more focused with our conversations, just because obviously that's a big part of our lives. And we're going to sprinkle in some whatever randoms. I mean, you see the books I have over here. I mean, you know what I like to read. So I read some weird ass shit. So we're going to get in some cool topics. I'm just saying. But I don't know. I guess there's some law enforcement podcasts I've listened to in the past, and I'm not knocking them. Like I love to listen to anything. Yeah. But I feel like there's some that are pretty like structured. Like you go into it and you know exactly what they're going to talk about.
And that's the thing. We have no agenda. We are just.
I just want to have conversation.
We're just kind of free flowing. Yeah, just having conversation. We'll have time. We'll work on our structure a little bit as we go along. We'll kind of have some things gathered before we come in here that we want to talk about.
Right.
But not scripted.
It's always in my brain. I always have so many things to say. Marcus doesn't like to talk to me, so no one ever listens to me. I just wanted to talk.
If you can hear this, send help.
blink twice if
Blink
you're
twice.
okay. But I guess if we finally do actually have maybe like more than one cop listening to us, it would be nice if they could relate to some of the things that we're talking about.
100%. And
hey, that's my life.
Absolutely.
You know? That's the crap I deal with on a daily basis. Like, cool, I'm glad that someone else sees it the same way I do.
And we will have some links and stuff that we'll get out there. So if anybody wants to communicate back with us,
so
that's an option.
I guess, do you want to start wrapping this up? We're at about 50 minutes.
Yeah, we sure can for episode number 1
Before I get on some weird tangent, because I have so many things in my brain.
We'll be here all night, guys.
I don't think anyone's going to listen to us for 3 hours, so I'll cut it short. But anyways, so if you have anything that you would like to ask us, or any topics, I should say ask us questions wise of about us, or work questions, or topics that you would like us to cover, shoot us an email. It's knockandtalkpod, POD, @gmail.com. We also have an Instagram. Right now the handle is Knock and Talk Pod, or Knock and Talk Podcast. I'm sorry, I just changed it, Knock and Talk Podcast. So look us up on Instagram. Doesn't have too much on it, but I have to say, I hope you guys are going to be super impressed with this room that we are recording in right now.
Okay, let's not wrap it up yet. Let's talk about this thing for a minute.
This room is badass, by the way. I mean, I just want to say that I feel like a lot of people start podcasts and they're like, cool, let's start recording whatever. This room is legit. First off, let's describe it. Walls are black, matte black.
Which sounds weird.
It's so cool.
But when you see it.
It's so cool. It is so cool. Also, we found these amazing old newspaper articles. Was it like a flea market or something that we found them? Something
like
Amish
that. Country or something.
I don't know. But anyways, we have 2 of them. We'll take pictures of them. They're so cool. The title on the one that I'm looking at right now says 12 whites killed in race riot. Wilson hits coal producers and jobbers. I don't know. It goes into the whole thing. And the other one says, Dries will ask Cox to act. 5 cities hunt dope slayer. Like, they're pretty cool.
So it's funny. I mean, they're
obviously cop focused.
What year they're from, but
I want to say they're from the 60s. No, they were from like the 30s.
It's like always the same genres. Like,
it's all cop stuff. They liked cops back then. They don't like cops now.
Things have changed, but it's still the
cops.
same crimes, still the same things going on in the world.
Also, can we talk about what's over here to this side of us?
In the big case there?
The big case
You're going to have to explain that.
Well, I will post a photo of it on our Instagram, and then also our website once I get that up and running, but I'm not even going to tell you the website yet because it doesn't have.
Ordeal.
It's been an ordeal. Thank you, squarespace.com, for being amazing, because I screw things up.
What?
But seriously, Squarespace is amazing. Those people Squarespace put up with me. I mean, I screwed it up.
God bless them.
Like, they were awesome. But anyways, I digress. So Marcus for Christmas he put my grandfather, who passed away last fall. So it's still a touchy subject, but he passed away last fall. He put his Air Force jacket from World War II in a display case for me. So it's hanging on our wall, and it's pretty amazing. I love it.
What branch?
He was in the Army Air Corps. So it's Air Force, but Army Air Corps is what it was back then in World War II. But he was an amazing guy. So I would like to have an episode maybe where we went over some like World War II stuff, because I am fascinated with World War II. I mean, I know it was a terrible time.
It was terrible, but
it's fascinating.
It's a very interesting part in American history.
I love reading World War II books and stuff and things like that. So I think it'd be really interesting to talk, and maybe we can get one of my family members on to talk about all the interesting facts about Grandpa, because he's pretty amazing. So we have that, and then we will have his what would you call it? His like rucksack with his name and number.
Sure.
I think it's a rucksack. I don't know. I mean, that thing went around the world. I mean, the stories I could tell you that I know, and I don't even know all the stories. It's pretty awesome, like the things that he did during, not necessarily during the war, but even just like the relationship he had with my grandma and
In
stuff,
general,
who
yeah.
was also in World War II, which leads us to, we have her flag because she also passed away last fall, which we can get into that another time because I'm still a little salty about everything, but I don't want to say it's okay because it's not. But anyways, I have her American flag from her funeral hanging on the wall. It's actually above our beer fridge, which you would probably love because the beer fridge. Grandma was awesome. So we have that hanging in our room. So we'll make sure that we post all those photos to our Instagram.
What branch was Grandma in?
She was in the Coast Guard. And the story for why she went to the Coast Guard and all that, it was a pretty cool story. I just found out a lot of the details after she passed.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, you heard them all while we were sitting there. I mean, it was fascinating, just listening to that time. So maybe we'll get into that one of these episodes if someone's interested, because I think they're pretty cool stories. Obviously, I'm a little impartial, but I think they're pretty cool people. And I mean, I kind of like my family. So, and then we have the really cool barn door that was a debacle to get up because everything that we do is a debacle.
Nothing ever goes easy. No. You're like, oh, that'll take me, half hour, 40. Nope, it's all day. It's all day. 3
weeks. It's like that SpongeBob thing where it would like come up and be like 3 hours later. Yes. So that barn door is up and it looks really cool because I stained it. But I'm just saying,
progress.
The room is badass. We look like we are legit podcasters.
We look like we know what we're doing.
But we don't.
And then you hit play and you're like, what just happened?
We don't know what we're doing.
What just happened?
We don't know anything that we're doing. So thank you if you made it this far. You are amazing. We really hope to kind of keep this going. Hopefully keep it weekly.
We promise we'll try and do better.
Oh my gosh. Gotta
work the bugs out. Gotta work the kinks out.
Gotta work the kinks out. But honestly, it would help if you guys would leave any reviews. Obviously, subscribe, give us 5 stars,
like and subscribe.
But seriously, if you can reach out to us either on our Instagram or through our Gmail, which is knockandtalkpod@gmail.com. Sorry, the wine. But yeah, if you guys reach out to us with questions or what you would like us to cover, if you have a specific incident from anywhere, shoot us a link, anything like that. We'll pull it up. We can cover it during the episode. It'd be awesome. It'd be kind of cool to go over specific things that people were interested in. Also, we would really like to have guests someday on our show. And obviously Megan Kelly, I know she's the dream, but, and Candace Owens, but it's not going to happen anytime soon. And we have a few people that we would like to get on the show that are acquaintances of our own that are local to us. So it would be kind of cool to get them on just to talk. I think if anyone is listening, you would find these people to be interesting and fun and funny. Also, whether they're law enforcement related or military or, something along those lines, that they would have their own opinions. But if you yourself or know of anyone that would maybe like to do an interview with us, we do have the capability because we have a badass Rodecaster Pro. We don't know how to work it very well yet.
We don't know what it does.
But I know that we can easily do phone interviews through the Rodecaster Pro. I just got a YouTube how to do it.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
We'll figure it out. But anyways, if you guys would like to call in or do something like that, that would also be awesome. So I feel like there's like endless
possibilities.
If my mom's listening to us, she's going to count how many times I said like. And if you're drinking to this, please don't drink to how many times I say like, because it's not going to go well for you.
You might have to drink just to listen to it.
Oh my gosh. Right. So, but yeah, I feel like, oh my gosh.
Well,
I feel as though there are a lot of different avenues we can go with this. You never know what you're going to get. So it's going to be a little different every single time. Depends on my mood because you never know what you're going to get with that either.
Yeah, me either.
So, yeah, right, I guess we'll kind of wrap it up here.
Where are we at time-wise?
We are at 1 hour almost on the dot.
so
With the
I'm
intro,
sorry,
once we
guys.
put our intro music in this, which obviously is going to be super cool.
Bear with us. Come back next time.
Yeah, hope you
We'd
guys keep
appreciate it.
listening. Hope you guys subscribe. Hope we have more than one listener, and hope it's not just my mom. Thanks, CBR.
Shout out.
Thanks, guys.
All right,
Talk
we're
to you
outta here.
later.
See ya.
Bye.